It was a tragedy of epic proportions in the Degrassi universe. Right after Rick's untimely death in season 4 of Degrassi Next Generation, 2 seasons later, we would soon lose another character. One that's been beloved and one who's been gone for 12 years. Hi, I'm Jeff Cutter, Historical Diamond, with yet another Degrassi video. This time it's Visions of JT Yorke. JT was what we called the comic relief of Degrassi throughout many seasons. He had some poignant comic scenes, he had some poignant drama scenes. JT was basically comic relief and helpful of Toby for the first few seasons, and then basically when he became an actor and all that, despite him being in a few terrible commercials, he seemed to have spurned Toby. The reason why I'm saying this is because JT had mocked Toby for being friends with Rick in season 4's shooting timeline, and JT was passionately going after both Manny and Liberty, mostly Manny. And in season 4, in the episodes that saw Rick come back to Degrassi, the subplot of that one was when JT got a penis pump and was trying to impress Manny after seeing Craig's giant member, as it seemed. Unfortunately, Manny breaks up with him. Obviously, that's funny. So anyway, JT hangs out with Danny, who's Liberty's brother. I don't think it was to score with Liberty. I think it was just to hang out and all that. As it stood, JT was basically not happy with Toby being friends with Rick and all that, and of course after Rick's issues. Of course, the subplot to Back in Black, which was the episode that everyone came back to the school on the Monday, and that was when Sean made the fateful decision to leave Degrassi for Wasaga, leaving Emma and Ellie high and dry. JT was basically mocking Toby for being friends with Rick and all that. And Toby spills his guts to Manny, and Manny decides to tell JT off by basically saying that Toby was loyal to JT, and if JT hadn't dumped him off for Webster, that's her pet nickname for Liberty's brother, Rick would not have befriended Toby. JT basically said, and you're talking about someone about abandonment. I think he was talking about his relationship with Manny. And Manny says, I'm glad that I broke up with you. You couldn't be the bigger man. Danny was about to make a joke about it. Don't you dare. But Toby is visited by JT and Manny at the visitation / funeral. And JT basically says that it doesn't matter what I think about Rick. It should never have happened in the first place. So he makes up with Toby, in a sense. JT, of course, in season 4 would get romantically linked with Liberty, mostly because they were working on Dracula as part of the drama club. Unfortunately, Raj put the kibosh on it because of the school shooting. Now, to be fair, I mean, a play about death when you had a real life death in your building, that's fair. All Raj could have done was just say, well, keep doing it, but wait till a proper time to do it. And then he put the musical on them. JT balked at getting back at Raj, but Liberty stood up to the administration. They both got Monday detention, and they both fell in love with each other. And it's possible JT and Liberty were responsible, or partially responsible, for sending Raj out of Degrassi because of his behavior. But, although, that is a stretch, on with the show. So anyway, JT and Liberty were, and Danny was jealous because he wanted to hang out with JT, but JT only had eyes on Liberty, so he basically tried to break him up, but Liberty sets Danny straight, and Danny accepts him. Of course, in season 5, JT and Liberty's relationship would go for a hard drive, and that was when Liberty announced that she was pregnant, and JT crashes his car into a post. Yeek. So anyway, JT decides to be a good father, unlike his father, who ran away from him, forcing JT's mother and little JT to be raised by JT's grandmother. Because his mom's mom, or I should say maternal grandmother, that's the proper term. He does try to talk to his grandmother about the baby and all that, and she says, I'm not raising that kid like I was you and all that. And JT says, I'm not going to be like my dad. I'm going to be supportive. I'm going to be there. And of course, JT's like, damn, I wish my grandmother would support us. And Liberty did say that compared to her parents, JT's grandmother is a lamb. So anyway, JT and Liberty tried to make things work. JT quits his acting job to get a job in pharmaceuticals, and then finds out through Jay that if he sells some prescription drugs, he can make bank and all that. Unfortunately, JT's lifestyle that forces Liberty to basically tell JT to get rid of the lifestyle, get rid of the money, basically confess to your crimes. And JT decides to take some medication, realizing his world's disappearing, and he crashes and burns. Fortunately for JT, his suicide attempt, and it was a suicide attempt, a lot of people said, what fell flat, and Liberty basically wants to give up the baby, mostly because she thought JT wasn't ready. Although JT was making a concentrated effort and all that. It's also imperative that before Liberty sees JT in the hospital bed, she talks to her dad, saying something about talking to the pharmacist. It's possible that he was going to try to get JT off the hook for stealing prescription medication, because I think he probably would have gone to jail for it. But JT is saddened about it. In season 6, after breaking up with Liberty, he actually gets closer to Mia, a young girl from a rival school, Lakehurst, who had a 2-year-old named Isabella. It's mostly that JT feels comfortable with Mia because of the kid and all that. You know, he wanted to raise a kid and not be like his father, a deadbeat. So practically, Liberty was upset, and Mia came to Degrassi, and JT basically wanted a little bit of a nursery at the school. Liberty nixed it. It's possible Liberty nixed it because it doesn't sound right. I mean, I know Degrassi High had one because of Emma. I mean, Spike and Emma, but she said that's not feasible. But JT probably figured that Liberty was just being petty and all that. You know. And I mean, Liberty probably missed JT because, you know, JT is hanging out with a girl with a kid. So maybe she had feelings for JT. Still, JT had no idea how to feel about either Mia or Liberty. Unfortunately, Lakehurst took it upon themselves to beat up JT, mostly because Mia was the girlfriend of Lucas, who was kind of a piece of shit in the Degrassi universe, like a deadbeat dad in a sense to Isabella. It is worth noting that Lucas, I think after finding out that his sister was sexually abused by her father, decided to stand up to his father and tell him where to get off and then to get family therapy. It's possible that Lucas's dad basically helped fund Isabella and all that. I think he basically told Lucas that I will help you out, but you don't tell about the sexual abuse of my sister. Or something like that. I think he didn't tell Lucas that, but anyway, off topic. Anyway, I'm going off topic. So anyway, JT sees Liberty and Mia at Liberty's birthday party, which was thrown by Manny and Emma at Emma's house. He doesn't know how to feel, but he feels strongly for Liberty, even though he has feelings for Mia. Unfortunately, Drake Lampley, the redheaded kid, decides to stab JT. And so Johnny, I forget his name, but anyway, Johnny witnesses it and is shocked that his friend would stab JT in retaliation for Lakehurst. Liberty sees JT being stabbed and basically says, wants some help. Unfortunately, JT is tragically dead because the blade punctures his aorta. And Liberty, Sean, JT, and Emma all grieve together. Now, the fallout of this was huge. I mean, Toby actually was ready to tell Liberty the truth about JT actually caring for Liberty and all that. And, of course, a tribute video to JT was ready to be played out for the Degrassi universe. And Liberty didn't like it because of the care for Isabella. I think she was just being mad and all that. But anyway, Liberty realizes about the video and all that and wants it to be played. They need to honor JT. And then a few episodes, I think the next episode after that, one was when Emma starts to spiral, mostly because Manny refuses to talk to her about the stabbing. I mean, Emma still feels guilty about the stabbing happened in her backyard. Not literally, but by her house. And Manny goes back to live with her parents because of the party and the stabbing and all that. Now, Emma, of course, is upset. She wants to talk to Manny with this because she figured that if she talks to Manny about this, then she probably will feel better about herself. It's imperative to know that maybe her PTSD, which was manifested in season 4 when Rick pointed the gun at her, might have been manifested in this scene, because you got to remember there's a death and all of that close to Emma, and she can't handle tragedy that well. So unfortunately, Emma is mad at Manny and all that. And to make matters worse, Manny is dating Damien, the head student from Lakehurst. So she's upset about that. Basically, she leads a protest against Lakehurst, stating that, why are we letting Lakehurst into this competition at Degrassi? I mean, they killed JT. Snake understands that, and after yelling at Emma, he tells her that we all feel bad about JT's death, but we're willing to move on. Basically saying that Emma had a vendetta against Lakehurst because of JT. It's also possible that Emma was mad at Manny because Manny got home scot-free, and she didn't face any repercussions about the party. I think it was Manny's idea to throw the Bash for Liberty at the house, and Emma probably didn't want anything to do with it. But it does have a silver lining, as Manny and Emma finally make up, and they both embrace each other, and they both don't hurt each other anymore as friends. That was the end of their feud. Now, JT gets mentioned a lot of times, especially by season 7, mostly because Lakehurst actually ended up having to move in with Degrassi because of a fire at their school, and a lot of people were upset by this. But regardless of what happened, the JT Yorke Memorial Garden is set in stone and all that. But in the last episode of season 7, when the Next Generation class, the class of Spinner, Jimmy, Emma, and those guys graduated, they wanted Liberty to make a speech about JT and all that, but she balked. And basically, Toby was mad at her for trying to forget JT and all that because she was with Damien, who was supposed to be with Emma. But in the end, Emma doesn't hate Liberty for going with Damien. She's mad at Damien for switching sides and says, I don't want to break up a friendship that is so long and all that. And then she does say something about JT Yorke, and we see a poignant scene of JT's graduation cap and then flung to the other side. So yeah, that JT death was huge. Now, it is important to know that the actor Ryan Cooley actually wanted to leave Degrassi because he wanted to go to the university and didn't want to have to deal with acting and being at university at the same time. So he says he wanted to be killed off in the most explosive way. So yeah, so this death was really huge on a lot of the Next Generation crew, and it's not to be forgotten. So yeah, so that's all I've got. I know Not a Vampire is going to probably top me on this, but that's okay. I mean, she's got her sources, I got my sources. So yeah, so thank you for watching and have a good day.